Hey there, my name is Olivia, and welcome to my YouTube channel where I talk about books for the most part. However, I have not been uploading on this YouTube channel with any type of regularity recently. I have been uploading a lot on TikTok though, so go to this TikTok. There's also going to be a link in the description of this video. If you want to see more videos quicker, talking about more books faster, that's that. But today is June 1st as I'm filming this, and I know that summer doesn't start until June 20th because the summer solstice, but I personally disagree with that. I morally disagree with summer starting on June 20th. June 1st is the beginning of summer to me. June, July, August, and then September is when summer is pretty much over for me, even though I know that technically fall starts in September 20th. I don't know. I think that we have it wrong. I think that humans have it wrong, and I think we need to fix the way that we do seasons. So to me, I wanted to talk about some of the books that I'm going to read in summer, which is all of June, all of July, all of August, pretty much. So these are just some of the books that I am planning on reading during that time period. I don't really have any specific timeline in mind of when I'm going to read these. I just know that this summer, these are books that are lined up. All right, this is my line up, my TBR, to be read. The first book that I have lined up is East of Eden by John Steinbeck. Now, this is a book that I've been meaning to read for a long time. The only Steinbeck book that I have read so far is Of Mice and Men. That's a great book, but I have heard so many amazing things about this. So let me see. Follows the intertwined destinies of two families, the Trasks and the Hamiltons, whose generations helplessly reenact the fall of Adam and Eve and the poisonous rivalry of Cain and Abel. Super interesting. I'm fascinated by these biblical comparisons that this seems to be about. I mean, the name is East of Eden, and I'm just so interested. I have literally heard people talk about what a great book this is. I've been meaning to read it. It will take some time, I think. It's kind of a big book, but I'm thinking that it'll be worth it, and I really hope it lives up to the hype because people seem really obsessed. So next is a little different, Fearless by Lauren Roberts. That still has the Target sticker on it. This book actually came out a few months ago, but I kind of wanted to wait until I was done with school. It was summertime and I could just relax and enjoy the final book of the Powerless trilogy. If you've watched some of my other videos, you know that I have complicated feelings about this trilogy. I didn't like the first book that much. However, I am deeply immersed in this world, and I'm very curious about what's going to happen next. The one great thing about these books has been the cliffhangers. They are crazy. The cliffhangers are crazy. So I bought this book immediately, and I've been holding on to it, but this summer we are doing it, and I cannot wait to see what the heck the cliffhanger of Reckless is going to bring in this. Next is Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. I bought a 5-pack of Jane Austen's most iconic novels, and this is the last one. I've read Emma, then I read Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, and just recently I read Persuasion. This is what I have left, Mansfield Park. So yeah, I'm just excited to get into another Jane Austen book. I've really enjoyed reading her. All of the books I've read have been so good so far. So it's a good classic read, and I like reading them and comparing them to the things that I've seen in modern romance novels. I just think that that's really interesting. So Mansfield Park. Yeah. Next, we have The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This is going to be my fun romance novel for the summer, or at least one of them. And the reason that I chose this is because I have heard so many good things about it from some of my favorite book people on TikTok and YouTube, people whose tastes very much so usually align with mine. I haven't heard a bad review of this book. I haven't heard anything bad about it. People love it. And so I need to see if it lives up to the hype. We'll find out. It's about two people who fall in love, but the guy is 7 years in the past and she's 7 years in the future, and they're living in the same house, I think. I don't know what the heck that's gonna look like. It sounds a little bit strange to me, but I have a feeling that somehow this book makes it work. So that's really exciting, and I think it'll be a fun, fascinating little summer read. Yeah, I think this is going to be fun. Then I also want to read Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. I read The Spirit Bears Its Teeth last year, and I loved it so much. and I've heard good things about his other books as well, so I'm so excited to read this. His books are basically like fantasy novels that follow transgender protagonists, and so a lot of Andrew Joseph White's books usually end up sort of looking at large topics like sexuality, gender, but also like neurodivergency and all different kinds of social issues, but also with like such fun and interesting fantasy elements. This book seems like it's more of like a dystopian sort of end of the world sort of vibe, as opposed to The Spirit Bears Its Teeth, which is more like historical fiction fantasy. So I'm interested to see what this is like in this setting. It's also interesting because there is a like local LGBTQ plus center. I think that'll be really interesting to see how that center sort of plays a role in what is described as Armageddon. Then I am finally going to get around to reading The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. I've read 2 Olivia Blake books. I read Masters of Death and One for My Enemy. But this is her most famous work. I believe this is a trilogy now. I just haven't read it yet. And I've seen this described a lot in like collections of like dark academia books, like when people are talking about that genre. I see this book. I know that it's about like magical students, maybe? Well, it's an Alexandrian society, so I guess they're just members of the society. So I guess it's not necessarily school, but I know it's about magicians and a secret society, and that's really neat and really cool, and I am excited to see it play out. So far, I have loved Olivia Blake's writing style, and so I have high hopes for how she'll make this book come to life, because she has done such a good job in the 2 other books I've read. And I also have another book of hers on audiobook, her newest one, Gifted and Talented. That I have as an audiobook, but I wanted to read this before I listen to that. I need to get this out of the way, you know, like this being her most like famous novel. I should probably read it. So yeah. Now, there are also 2 other classic books that I want to read this summer that I just want to like get out of the way, because these are the kind of books where it's like, why have I not read it yet? You know, like why have I not read them yet? Firstly, 1984, George Orwell. Why have I not read this book yet? I just read Animal Farm last year for the first time. Still have not read 1984. I also haven't read Fahrenheit 451. Obviously, that's not Orwell, but I haven't read that either. I need to buy that. Like, there are just some classics that I just like have not read for some reason. Need to catch the freak up. George Orwell, 1984, authoritarianism, Big Brother, you know the deal. Next is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. This book, especially like because in America things are kind of wild and run out. Yeah, this is a book about the oppression of women and the control of women's bodies in a society, and not trying to make any statements about my own country, but relevant. Just saying. And then speaking of other culturally relevant books, I want to read a nonfiction book called Hood Feminism. This is about the way that feminism has failed large groups of women and the importance of like the intersections of different classes of women, races of women, and how, you know, just advocating for like white well-off women doesn't do the trick, you know, doesn't benefit all of us. And so I'm really excited to read this and mark it up. This stuff is important to read about and learn about, and I don't do enough nonfiction. So we're doing nonfiction this year. I also have a book called Before We Were Innocent, which is about some girls who 10 years ago spent a summer vacation in Greece. One of them died, and the other 2 are cleared of having any involvement. But it appears, I mean, the ending of this summary says, can you ever be an innocent woman when everyone wants you to be guilty? And it appears that they're still struggling with maintaining their innocence, because it says now, which would be 10 years after the death, after being cleared, Joni needs a favor when she turns up at her old friend's doorstep asking for an alibi. I'm very interested. The reason I bought this is because it really piqued my curiosity. I also think that this book was pretty popular and people liked it, so we're gonna have to find out, but I'm really, really fascinated by whatever it is that truly happened on that summer vacation in Greece. And then the last book that I will talk about is Andromeda. I got this as a book of the month by Teresa Bowman. So the summary says, a young editor develops a close bond with her boss in this shrewd novel about the tension between tradition and modernity, and expectations and reality. Modernity. That's a difficult word. Does anybody else have trouble with that word? Let me know. Okay, interesting. So she's an editor for a publishing house and develops a seemingly inappropriate relationship with her boss named Gunnar. Okay, so this is a book that I got. Now I have it. Gotta read it. I like the cover, I will say. That's a very cool looking cover. Well, I got a little bit of stuff on the back, but it's got like a... Oh shoot, you cannot see that. It's got like a constellation on the back. I don't know why. Pretty short, so it should be like quick, I think. So yeah, those are all of the books that I am very certain about reading this summer. There will be more, obviously. I think that was like, what, 11, 12 books? And I'm gonna end up reading more this summer, so. And I am going to make book recaps. I'm going to make a like middle of the year one after June, at the end of June, and then I'm gonna make like an end of the year one in December. Maybe I'll do more in between there, I don't know, but I haven't done any in the past, God, like 7 months? I was doing them every 1 or 2 months in 2024 until the end because things got a little crazy in my life, and then I just never picked it back up. So sorry about that, y'all. But this is what you have to look forward to, plus everything else that I've read in the past 5 months, because I've still been reading a lot. I just haven't been updating you. However, if you are interested in what I have been reading in the past 5 months, TikTok has it all. TikTok has it all, baby. I've got little monthly recaps happening on there, so you can still find that now if you don't want to wait for my like middle of the year book thing. I hope everybody has a great summer. I do have other videos planned too. I want to start making YouTube videos again, not that anybody cares, but you feel me. Okay, bye!